Hello, my name is Dr. Isaac Munawar. Today's presentation is going to continue on conditions of service. Simply put, these are do's and don'ts, or rewards and punishments that employees benefit or suffer from. I will go straight to let us discuss benefits. Before I do that, let me say that it will depend on whether an individual is employed by someone or is self-employed, is into business, or has also even employed others. Whichever way you look at it, there are rules or international regulations that national regulations also derive their force from. And so whether you are self-employed who employs others, or you are doing business and you are engaging others, or you are employed by someone, or you are working as a high-level manager supervising employees, you all need to understand what it is that when we are talking about conditions of service. Our last presentation, we looked at scheme of service, and we said it is a progression of an employee from bottom to the top, from the lower level to the highest level. It doesn't mean that all employees who begin, for example, as classroom teachers will rise to the very top of the service, that is Director General. It is important to say that everybody has the chance to rise to the top. The next in importance for all employees to understand is conditions of service. That's when you are in employment, you have a number of benefits that you can enjoy from the organization. It is important to add, you also have to understand that once you go astray, once you deviate, once you misconduct yourself, there are sanctions that you must also suffer. Knowing that you will be motivated, and motivation can be intrinsic or extrinsic. If you don't motivate yourself to do the right thing, force will let you do it one way or the other. And so, number one, travel and transport is the number one benefit that an employee that is working or that is employed to work can benefit from. This one, it will depend on the specific rules and regulations that are covering each organization. And that's why it will be said that it will depend on the approved rates when an employee is to benefit from it. For an officer running, you return for a refund based on approved rates, or the incurred expenses will provide documentation and then you are reimbursed. There are circumstances under which employees receive their travel and transport allowance. One is first posting. The right thing to every organization, for every organization to do, is to ensure that for employees to be posted the first time, they are to receive transport allowance or travel and transport allowance to their stations. Some people may be traveling from Accra to the north, from the north to Accra, from Upper West to Ashanti region, from Ashanti region to Upper East. So wherever the person is posted, the organization should endeavor to pay the travel and transport. The other situations under which people qualify to receive travel and transport will be when they receive their posting, which is called reposting or transfer. While you are at work, you can be transferred, now called reposting. You need travel and transport to move from the current workplace to the new workplace. Let me be quick to add that there will be rules and regulations guiding that. Some will be talking about mileage, some will be talking about the ease of movement of household, whether because of the transfer you have to move your household from one place to the other, or if they will use mileage, whatever approved condition they use. employees are supposed to educate themselves so that you don't, murmur and gossip about when that may not be the case. The other thing that employees can benefit is when you are returning from study leave with pay. It means from the location that is approved. If it is University of Cape Coast to any part of Ghana, University of Ghana to any part of Ghana, University of Science and Tech, any public university or approved university that you attend upon government approval or your organization's approval, you need the T&T to be able to move from the school to the home. Now when you are posted, that means that after returning from school, after some time you receive posting to resume work. You are now to receive transport, travel and transport from your home to the station you are being sent to. Where you are re-engaged, either you sought permission on leave of absence or leave without pay, and you are coming back, there are a number of processes you have to go through. Whichever way you look at it, once you are re-engaged, the organization will need to support you from your home to your new location. And so is retirement. When you retire and you are re-engaged by any organization or the same organization, you need travel and transport allowance to carry yourself to your new location. The only people that do not deserve travel and transport are 3 or more, but I would like to emphasize on these 3. People who are on disciplinary transfer, no matter the distance you cover, you don't deserve travel and transport, and that will be in your condition of service. Remember that these things we are talking about, we are discussing condition of service, so you should have known that even before you are employed, that one of the sanctions involved in an employee not doing well or being disciplined is that wherever they are sending you, you will not receive travel and transport. When you are returning from suspension, or in some cases interdiction, you are not going to benefit from it. That will also depend on what the results you get, because sometimes either the organization itself will waive off the decision not to support, depending on how successful you are through or you went through the disciplinary process. After all, the court can decide that every little thing that the person deserves, the person can. In that case, it also means that such a person will need travel and transport. But generally, the interdiction that takes the form of suspension, you don't deserve any travel and transport. And employees, the most popular one, employees who request on their own to join their spouses or for some other personal reasons to move or posted to other places, they also don't deserve, and normally they are asked to write undertaking. They are asked to write undertaking, I'm sure, based on experience, because some people will still move like that, and when others are filling their transfer grants, they will also be very eager, fighting to have it. But even sometimes with undertaking, people still fight. It's important that we understand that this is part of your condition of service, and if it is, it is. If it is not, it's not. The number 3 condition of service I want to mention is leave. Generally, you can have annual or general leave, casual leave, maternity, or in some cases paternity leave, convalescent, study leave or with or without pay, and a number of others. It is important that people know that one of the areas in which scheme of service links up with condition of service is here, that a junior officer will not expect to get annual leave equal to your director general. So there are spaces between 4 weeks, 30 days, or some 35 days, and then 40 days for the director general. The specific general annual leave that any employee qualifies to take, you need to understand. The casual leave is on top of your general or annual leave. Doesn't mean that once you enjoy your annual leave, then you don't qualify. It is preferred that you take casual leave after your general. After all, your annual leave, you can break it into parts. If it is 30 days, you can take 10 at different points. That's for you. Or you can take it en bloc. The maternity leave is within 12 weeks. What we have been doing is to give 90 days. We are trying to ensure that employees must understand if it's 12 weeks, it's 12 weeks. People are fighting to have paternity leave, and so much is being talked about. But what is more important is for people to understand that there is an opportunity for a pregnant woman who successfully give birth. So you can take part of the leave during pregnancy, and then after pregnancy, or you combine them. What we have been seeing is that people prefer to combine the leave so that they can take care of the child up to a point. The study leave can be study leave with pay or without pay. Study leave with pay, it means that the administrative organ of your employer should be able to devise a means or drive a quota system or general leave if they have the resources and the time to do it. So quite often in GS we find there's quota system so that the educational management will decide which areas are critical within a certain period, and then they will give preference to those ones, while there are general opportunities for exceptional situations. Study leave without pay, or more or less leave of absence, you have to still write through the directorate, district, municipal, metropolitan, through regional to director general to get approval before you leave, even with a leave without pay. Re-entry will mean that you have to follow the process, because if you don't get permission from director general before you go, that will be deemed as vacation of posts, and that has its own ramifications. The number 4 benefit that I would like us to discuss is allowances. 2 of them are critical here: supervision and professional. The supervision allowance for tertiary educational institutions will normally cover the heads of the institutions, their assistants. If you go to senior high school, it will include senior housemasters, senior house mistresses, housemasters, house mistresses, heads of departments, guidance and counseling, and among others, chaplain. You need to understand these things as you move along. The professional allowance is a percentage of the employee's basic salary that is added for all certificated teachers. It's important that we do these discussions so that not just for interviews, not just for the purpose of knowing that this is what I deserve, but it is more important that we know, either as employers or employees, that having these things are some extra effort being put by the organization to ensure that people do their best. And you want to grow, you know that the travel and transport allowance of a senior most officer is higher than a junior officer. There again, there is a link between the scheme of work, scheme of service, and the condition of service for all employees.